Two series are already in the bag. Five are all but wrapped up. Only one remains competitive. Let's talk about that. Okay, welcome to this episode of Basketball Street Beat. This is episode 14. Today, I'm your host, John Behrens, and I have a special guest with me today as Josh has not been able to make it today due to making sure that Amazon customers get their packages on time. How you doing, EJ?
I'm good, man. How's it going, man? How's it going?
All right. So I hear you're a big basketball fan.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Basketball, football, but right now I'm pretty much into basketball right now. My favorite team is the Rockets. Hopefully we can go a little bit further than what we have, even though that damn loss that we had.
Okay, we'll get into the basketball, the NBA playoffs shortly here, but there's a few news things that have dropped recently that I just kind of want to get your take on.
Sure.
The first being that Jason Kidd is interviewing for the Lakers vacancy.
Wow.
So that's
Wow,
that's dropped today.
Yeah, that's very interesting. That is very interesting. Now, here's the thing. See, because I want to say the Lakers organization, they have a few coaches in the running to get that position. One of the heavy favorites is actually Tyronn Lue from Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's actually in the favorite in the running, mainly because of the simple fact of LeBron James, and he was actually one that won a championship with him. So that's what they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised ain't nobody really mentioned Mark Jackson because he's actually a good coach as well too. But there's a few reasons why I don't think he'll be perfect for LeBron, and I'll get to that in a second. But Jason Kidd, I have to honestly say it's a bit of a surprise to me because Jason Kidd was actually a pretty good coach when he was coaching the Bucks. Had a good system going. Unfortunately for the Bucks, they wanted to go into a new direction. Jason Kidd lost his job and everything. With Jason Kidd, I believe that he could possibly make Lonzo Ball a little bit better if they decide to keep him. And what I mean by that is Jason Kidd, when he first started, if you really look at from his career, he was a playmaker himself.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was a big Kidd fan.
But he found other ways to score, and that's kind of I think that will help Lonzo Ball in the long run. Now, as far as with coaching LeBron James, that's a big old monster in itself, as we all know. So it's pretty much come to a conclusion that that's why I think Tyronn Lue will probably be the heavy runner. But Jason Kidd is actually kind of a shock. Now, the reason why I say nobody's really mentioned Mark Jackson is because of the simple fact Mark Jackson is one of those old school coaches where you're not really going to tell him what he needs to do or what plays he needs to call. If he calls a play or he says you need to do something, that's it. He has the final say. With LeBron James, he likes to say, well, I don't like this play. Let me go ahead and audible and go into that play.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to fly that way with Mark Jackson. One of the reasons why I figure he could be a coach that LeBron James needs, but as far as what they're trying to look for, I don't think he's going to be a good fit because there's going to be some friction there. But I still think Tyronn Lue will be the home runner. But Jason Kidd, hey, I wouldn't be surprised if Jason Kidd becomes the Lakers coach.
So, I find it interesting that they're talking about going after Lue. Didn't Lue have a fallout with James?
He did, but what they're still looking at it is he still won a championship with him.
Okay, fair enough.
That's the key thing. He still won a championship with him, even though there was a falling out the second year, and a lot of people really don't see that. It's still the matter of, well, he still won a championship with him. He's the only coach that actually won a championship with him besides Eric Spoelstra. And he won 2 with him.
And the other thing that came out, and I think this hit yesterday, was the fact that former Lakers coach Luke Walton has officially been sued for sexual assault. Not charged, sued. So we're looking at more allegations. But,
Right.
You know, that just seems to be the norm these days.
But the thing about it is, what a lot of people don't realize is before these allegations came out, I want to say the Lakers either released him and he got another job coaching the Kings.
Yeah.
And I said, bro, if Luke Walton actually has success with the Kings, the Lakers going to really shoot themselves in the foot by letting that boy go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed on that one. Well, the way they've handled this whole LeBron James era has just been non-impressive from the get-go, outside of signing James.
Here's the thing with LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe that LeBron James is an all-world talent.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, in this era, he is the best to ever do it. That's just bar none. He is the best player in the world right now in his era, in this era. Why I'm not drinking the juice of a lot of people as far as what they think about LeBron is because of this. If you really look at LeBron James's body of work, there is some question marks to him. Does he have that killer instinct? Can he really, lead? Can he really, take a team as far as he can without the help of playmakers or superstars, basically? Because that's all he's wanting for right now. Is basically I hate to say it like that, but he's whining for superstars because in this age and era, because the league has really gone soft, you need superstar help.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of people don't realize is, okay, LeBron James, he wants AD. Okay, that's a given. Now he's saying he needs another shooter in Klay Thompson or Bradley Beal or whatever. Or he may go out and get Kyrie Irving, or he may go out and try to get KD to come join up with him. What a lot of people don't realize is this. Those superstar players, the teams are really going to have to give up something. The Lakers team is really going to have to give up a lot to try and get those caliber players.
Especially if they try trading for Davis again.
Exactly. So if you try to trade for AD and try to keep the players that you have, it's really not going to happen. Because when that whole thing with AD trying to trade up to LA, first of all, I told a lot of people this. I said, look here. Lakers is going to have to put Kyle Kuzma on board. They don't want to, but they have to. He's going to be on the trading block because every team going to want him. Mm-hmm. Lonzo Ball is going to be on the trading block. You got Josh Hart, another shooting guard that's going to be on the trading block. Brandon Ingram was actually on a come-up this past season, but now he's going to be on the trading block. That's 4 players right there that you're going to have to trade away. So I look at it, when you look at it from this perspective, if you get AD, if you get a Klay Thompson, you still need a forward, you still need a center, you still need a big man in the middle, and you still need a park guard, and you still need a bench.
Right. I think.
So now what you're going to get?
Yeah.
Who's out there available that you're going to get like that?
Yeah, and you make a really good point there about needing the bench. And really, when you look at the Pelicans, now that we're talking about the Anthony Davis, that has really been the biggest problem that they have had is not having a bench. They either traded it away or they traded away their picks and trying to build around Davis, but at the same time, they just weakened their bench.
Right.
And that's been the Pelicans' big problem because they've had really good starting fives.
Oh, yeah.
It's just their bench has sucked. Yeah, that's just putting it nicely. So, if James wants to win one with the Lakers, you don't want to trade away your entire bench. Which if they get some more superstars in, some of the guys that started this past year are going to be sitting on that bench.
It's not just that. It's not just that, John, because you bring up pretty good points yourself. But it's not just that. It's just like I want you to look at it from this perspective again as well too. Last year, basically what they're basing off of LeBron James, his success came off of he had just him and a bunch of shooters around him. And so that's the big deal that they're trying to make, is that LeBron James needs shooters. Okay, what did LeBron James have last year before he went to the Lakers? The year before he went to the Lakers, what did LeBron James had in Cleveland that he had surrounding him? Shooters.
Mm-hmm.
What was the problem that time? They were off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were off. It was the most terrible shooting backcourt that he has ever had in centuries after Kyrie left. That was pretty much his entire backcourt was nothing but shooters, and they were all completely off. So what the Lakers did, okay, last year, the year before you had shooters, it didn't work out. Okay, let's put playmakers around you. See if you can carry a bunch of playmakers to at least the playoffs. And for a while, it looked like that was going to happen until he had his injury. And then the rumors started buzzing around that saying he wanted to get rid of his entire team because they couldn't match up to his playing level. Okay, well, that's basically going to kill your whole team right there, LeBron.
Yeah.
By you not saying nothing and really not backing your teammates up, saying, look, I'm not trying to trade my team. I'm trying to get them to play together so we can get to the playoffs, at least the conference finals.
No.
So the Lakers looked at it from that perspective and said, okay, the year before when you came to us, you had shooters, it didn't work. So let's put playmakers around them. Now, if you're trying to get shooters now in this market, you're pretty much going to have to give up your whole team to get the players that you want.
Uh-huh.
Right, and plus, you got to look at it from this perspective as well, too. The Knicks is in the running to get KD and Kyrie Irving over there to New York Knicks.
Oh, Lord.
And that is in the East. Right, and that is in the East. Then on top of that, the LA Clippers is on a come up with Doc Rivers calling this team the most resilient team he's ever coached, and he's having fun now. Not only that, Jerry Weston took over this team, and they're in the running to get 2 superstars over there.
Mm-hmm.
So with the level of talent of superstars spreading thin to different areas, LeBron, what you going to get now?
Right.
What you going to start whining for now? So that's why I've always respected the old guys back in the day when they played in the playoffs, or like back in Michael Jordan's era, Allen Iverson's era.
Mm-hmm.
You had guys that basically worked with what they had.
Yeah.
And they pretty much still made it to the playoffs, or at least the Western Conference Finals, with what they had.
Yeah, you got to think. One of the things that I always remember that a lot of people forget is that the Nets made it to the finals back-to-back seasons. So
the Nets.
Yeah.
The Nets.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. That's why I'm agreeing with you. That's why I'm really trying to get into these people that's listening right now. Listen to what he's saying. The Nets.
I mean, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything once they got there. They ran into the Lakers once, and then who killed them next time around?
But you gotta look at it from this perspective right now.
Right.
Look at the Nets now.
Yeah, they surprised a lot of people
again.
They surprised a lot of people this year.
They surprised a lot of people, but that's just basically saying they was going to work with what they had.
Mm-hmm.
Who over there on the Spurs right now? The Spurs have made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Spurs is pretty much a team that's always been that constant. They work with what they have. LeBron, you're out here whining for superstars, and ain't nobody really, if I'm lying, you can really much correct me. Nobody really wants up to join up with LeBron right now.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Nobody really wants us to join up with LeBron right now, LeBron. So I don't know what type of negotiation skills you got going on in this offseason, but you're going to be working a whole hell of a lot, especially trying to get healthy.
I know. The man's like 33 years old now? So
34, probably. He's about 33, 34 years old. And he's in his, I want to say his 16th or 17th year, I believe. I have to look it up, but I believe he's got a couple of more seasons left, and that's it.
Without argument there. I mean, the kid, not kid, the guy's been playing since what, 18 years age, 17.
18 years of age. 18 years of age.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. I remember he was drafted back in I want to say '04 or something like that.
Right. And that was the best draft class that changed the entire league. That draft class really has changed the entire. That draft class with LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony and Dwayne Wade, that draft class really changed the era of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it moved into what we're experiencing now, where players want to play with each other now, basically.
Right. Okay, kind of moving on from that, which we could probably talk on for another hour or two. Because you could really take that discussion in so many different directions. But the NBA playoffs are going on right now, and to say they've lacked competition is just being nice. I mean,
I don't think they've lacked competition. If you really look at it from a broadened perspective, even though LeBron James is not in the playoffs, that's what's really killing everybody. That's why I say I'm not drinking the juice of how everybody looks at saying, "Oh, this playoffs is going to suck because LeBron James is not in it." If you really look at it from a broader perspective, it's just like we said earlier. The Nets made the playoffs. The Spurs made the playoffs. There's a lot of teams that are surprising a lot of people. First off, the Nets is giving the 76ers a hell of a fight.
Yeah, that is a good series.
Now it's really getting to where everybody believed that the Thunder was going to make it far, but look at the Trailblazers. The Trailblazers are actually about to be in the second round in a few minutes.
Yeah. That's surprising, actually, because they went on. I want to say it was a 8-game losing streak in the playoffs.
Right.
Being a top 4 seed both times, and
right
now they are up against what is still a very talented, very solid Thunder's team, and have just taken it to them against the team.
Because we know the reason why they're sticking it to the Thunder is because Russell Westbrook is now pretty much trying to will this team into the playoffs instead of trying to ease back and trying to get his team involved. We all know what's the reason why the Thunder is losing it. But on to another playoff tandem, you got the Clippers versus the Warriors. Who would have thought the Clippers would actually get a game out of the Warriors?
Oh, I know.
A lot of people are saying it's lack competition, but it's if you really look at it from that perspective, it's some competition going on right now. Who would have thought the Magic would have been making it into the playoffs and they would have get a game out of the Raptors?
Right, and Magic making it to the playoffs for the first time in I want to say at least 12 years.
So there's a lot of surprise teams that actually made the playoffs that you really didn't thought that was actually not even going to make the playoffs. And then when they make the playoffs, you say, "Oh, this is about to be a sweep." They actually win a game.
Right.
So it's like, well, doggone, like what the hell going on? It's like you got all these surprise teams making a play and everything, and it's just it makes for interesting basketball because it's like, well, doggone, maybe I should change my pick or something like that.
Right.
But, you pretty much got a glimpse of you really can't tell who's actually going to be in the finals this time. Of course, you could say it's going to be the Warriors, but they got the Rockets coming up.
Mm-hmm. And I would say
my team is about to face them in the second round.
Okay. I would say what is surprising about the Magic making the postseason this year is that, if I'm correct, this is the first time in at least a long time, if not ever, that they have made it to the postseason without a superstar big man. The last time they made it, they had Dwight Howard, and then it was Shaquille O'Neal before that. So
right.
They're in the playoffs without Superman.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing about it is you resonated is Who is their big man right now? It's Nikola Vucic. And he's a skilled big man, but you got to look at the big men they had before them. They had, of course, you mentioned they had Shaq, who was the most dominant big man of his era.
Mm-hmm.
Then you went into with Dwight Howard, who was the most athletically centered that they have ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it all the way to the finals. And eventually lost, but they made it all the way to the finals. So for the Magic to make it here without a big man of that stature, that says a lot about their team and what they're trying to actually accomplish. And it basically resonates to back what we were saying before. There is a lot of teams that are not looking for superstars and are just working with what they have in order to make it and be competitive. So when you look at it from that perspective, it makes for great basketball because of the simple fact, okay, you got teams that's coming in saying, man, I don't care who you have on your team. We're coming after you.
So who do you think can beat the Warriors?
Right now, who could beat the Warriors? The Warriors, there's two teams that can actually beat the Warriors.
I mean, other than the Warriors themselves. Hello? We lose him there? Okay. Yeah. EJ?
Like I was saying before, with the Warriors beating themselves, if anybody who's listening to this, if your team is in the West, is in the playoffs right now, if there is ever a time to actually take out the Warriors, the time is now. Because when you really look at the team in a whole, in its perspective, that team is really showing some cracks in their armor.
Oh, yeah, without question.
A lot of players are not getting along with each other. Kevin Durant possibly wants out of that franchise because of the simple fact him and Draymond still got into it. And you can still see on the court, him and Draymond still trying to be like, teammates, but they're not as tight-knit as we once thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of opportunity to take out the Warriors, and that's why I say for the Rockets, for the Rockets, being that they're the only team talented enough to actually take it to them, I would say is probably, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Rockets fan. I'm just saying that if there is a team in the West that's actually talented enough to take them out, it would be the Rockets. It would be the Rockets. Now, it's to say if James Harden will actually answer that call, which in his history he has not, but that all falls on the Rockets and James Harden and how he does. But like I said, the reason why I say except the Warriors themselves are showing cracks in their armor a little bit too late right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting to a point to where it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, now's not the time to start falling apart as a team.
Right now is not the time to show some. Now's not the time to start falling apart, and you're only in the first round. I mean, that loss to the Clippers, it was kind of like, I'm not even going to take that as a wake-up call. I'm really going to take that as a shock because it was, how did you expect the Clippers to actually win a game out of that series?
Or not just that, but overcome 31-point deficit.
And overcoming a 31-point deficit. How did you expect the Clippers to actually do that? But like Doc Rivers said, who is a great coach in his own right, this is the most resilient team that he has ever coached, and he's having fun. And like I said earlier, they're in the running to get 2 max superstars. So when you look at it from that perspective, the Clippers is actually going to be on the rise.
Right.
So the Lakers got to have a lot of work to do ahead of time.
So do you think that what we could be looking at potentially next year is a team bringing a title to Los Angeles that is not the Lakers?
If the Clippers stay on the path that they're doing, I believe so. Because you got to look at who is now over there overseeing everything that's going on, and that's Jerry West. And Jerry West was the engine behind what was going on in the Lakers franchise for a lot of years
Mm-hmm.
with Showtime and with Shaq and Kobe and all that. You know, they've had success under him. Now Jerry Jones is actually with the Clippers, and look at what they're accomplishing now.
Right.
How in the world the Clippers got have the ability to get 2 max contracts for superstars is beyond me.
So what do you think?
But it happened.
Yeah, what do you think would be the difference between what you say the Clippers are capable of potentially achieving in the future versus when they had CP3 and Griffin? What made that not work versus what could potentially work?
Well, the thing about it is they're not really counting on. If you look at the Clippers from the whole, I'll say this, and I have to go back to work. This is going to be my last point. I have to go back to work. So when you look at the Clippers as a whole from its perspective, you have to look at, you know, like I said, with the Jerry West factor and with them getting 2 max superstars, they're a team that's pretty much not really concerned about having superstars on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look at that team right now, the only pretty much star that they have is Lou Williams, and you have the most, they call him a pest, but I have to say, pound for pound, that is the best on-ball defender I have ever seen in Patrick Beverley. That guy doesn't care who you are. He'll come at you on defensive wise. And if you look at it, that's what they rely on is their defense. So if you get 2 superstars that just concentrate on offense, everything should fall into place for them to even contend or actually go for a championship.
Okay. Thanks for coming on today.
It's no problem, man. It's no problem. Let me go ahead and go back to work and finish up this shift. I'm actually in the process of trying to start off a podcast myself. But, man, John, you and I go way back to Academy days. So anytime you want to talk sports or anytime if you need me, man, just call me up. I'll be more than happy to do another show with you, bro.
All right. Good to have you on, AJ, and I definitely want to get you back on in the future.
No problem, man. Have a good one.
Hey, you plan on attending the draft this week?
What's happening?
Are you going to come check us out at the draft this week?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to try to make it out there with my schedule allows it. But I appreciate it, man.
Okay. Talk to you later, EJ.
Later, bud.
Later. Well, that wrapped up a little quicker than I expected it, but as you heard, the man had to go back to work. Really and truly, the only things that we didn't get around to talking to that I really wanted to touch up on a little bit was the sweep by the Bucks of the Pistons, a series that, quite frankly, was not very competitive at all. In fact, the only game that the Pistons did not lose by 20-plus points was Game 3, which they still lost by 16. The other thing was the sweep of the Indiana Pacers by the Boston Celtics, which was a little bit more of a surprise, especially considering the melodrama that really surrounded the Celtics over the course of the year, where, I don't know, what happened? Can anybody really say? It was just weird, but it was there, clearly. Anyway, as I said, Joshua Perkins was out due to making sure that people got their packages on time. And he should be back next week. But he should also be there as the NFL draft Thursday 26 at 5:45 as we go live on YouTube, giving you full, complete draft coverage of the first 3 rounds. This has been an AI Sports production. I'm your host, John Behrens. You can find us elsewhere on Facebook, Twitters, and as always, AISportsNetwork.com. Thank you for tuning in. This is AI Sports Network signing out.